A-D-N.
It's HeadphonesNeil!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to HeadphonesNeil Reviews. I'm your host, as always, HeadphonesNeil, bringing you this week's set of reviews and updates and all of that usual fun stuff. So I'm going to get the usual thing out of the way, and then I have a lot of other random stuff to get through that I finished, started, random announcement, and all of that fun stuff. So let's jump right into it. So to start it off, I'm still watching The Walking Dead Dead City with the Dama dead and now the Croat being somewhat of a loose cannon. It's one of those things where I'm not sure where they're going to go with the rest of the season. Is Maggie and Herschel going to split ways because Herschel, I guess, has Stockholm Syndrome or whatever? Or are they going to meet back up? Is Maggie going to ultimately forgive Negan? Is he going to go back to his family, or is what's her name, his daughter, going to end up killing him or join the Croat, or what's going to happen and all of that stuff? So not sure where they're going with it, so I'm going to hold off my final review until the season is done, just because it's now to the point where it's kind of an open question as to what they're actually going to do with the season. But still, overall it's still a very, very good show. I'm still enjoying the season very much, and I can't wait to see how they round out the season. Now, as far as the surprise announcement teaser trailer for this week, we got a special video announcing the release of Spaceballs 2 coming in 2027. They did it in the most Spaceballs fashion, to talk about, all the Star Wars prequels and sequels, and the TV shows that are prequels but technically sequels, and sequels that are prequels, and all of that stuff. Alien and Predator movies, that even though there's a Predator and an Alien movie and vice versa, and there's separate movies and all that stuff. All the Harry Potter movies, Star Trek movies that are streaming, stuff like that. So much like the first one, I'm expecting that they're going to do pretty much the same thing, but instead of the Planet of the Apes story arc, they might introduce, or they're going to introduce the Harry Potter stuff somehow. So needless to say, I'm really stoked to see what they come up with. I'm kind of really only hoping that they instead of the Schwartz Awakens, that they call it the Search for More Money, like they called it out in the first movies. Not to say that the Schwartz Awakens is a bad title, but you kind of have that kind of used up with films like Sharknado, which to me is like, okay, well, they did that there, so let's do what they already did in the first one just to tie it together. Although I'm sure that they'll come out with something even sillier, like, well, we're going to resolve this in Spaceballs 3, the whatever, So regardless, the trailer's up on YouTube. I'll have a link in the show notes, but definitely very funny and a very welcome teaser. So as of now, it does look like we're going to have Mel Brooks potentially directing and starring in it. Looks like Bill Pullman is also reportedly signed on along with his son. Rick Moranis is supposedly coming out of retirement to be in the film, so can't wait for that. I didn't see anything really official or anything reported as far as what they're going to do with the John Candy role, so I know that's going to be a tough one to do, although I'm sure there's enough people out there to do that, but it's just that, it's John Candy, so how do you replace him? But regardless, and also if they can replace what's his name from the Ahsoka show with the Hound from Game of Thrones, I'm sure there's someone that they could do a good cover replacement to act like him, or do something semi-related, like introduce his son and go that route. So regardless, it's a welcome announcement, so I can't wait for 2027 to come fast enough. On that note, I actually had a chance to finish watching The Big Bang Theory, all 12 seasons or whatever. It went by a lot faster than I expected, just because they are all like 20-minute episodes, so they're super easy to watch. It's a pretty repetitive show. I mean, you kind of know once you've seen the first 2 seasons, you kind of know what all the characters are going to do. They all ultimately grow to various extent, so Howard isn't the same guy in the later second half of the show compared to the first half. Same with Sheldon, like they make it a point to point out all the ways he's changed. Same thing with Amy and Leonard and Penny. The only one that's really, even Raj has his change where he was unable to speak with women when the show started, and by the end of it he could. But that's really the only one, that story arc, that didn't have a resolution, because everyone ultimately finds a partner except for Raj. I mean, it did feel like they were gonna ultimately go the route of him coming out of the closet potentially. That's the reason that caused him so much trouble, and have him be in a relationship with what's his name from the comic book store owner, Stewart, which we kind of felt like they were going that way a few times, but then they didn't. So that kind of sucks. But it does potentially set up either a spin-off series or a one-off movie to resolve that. So I hope they do come up with something. But regardless, overall, it was a very good show. It was a very sad ending to the show, and very not sad, but very heartwarming ending to the show, because Amy and Sheldon get their Nobel Prize, and Sheldon gives a heartfelt thank you to all the friends. He calls, Dr. Kutsapali, he calls Howard an astronaut, and he makes a point of thanking Penny and Leonard for all that they did for him, and that they're truly his friends. So even though he doesn't show it as much as he's supposed to, and he's the way he is, he does appreciate it. So all in all, a very good show, and it actually does make me want to go watch Young Sheldon in its entirety. But it's one of those things where on one hand, it's like, okay, well, it's not, even though it's Young Sheldon, it does have the rest of his family, so being able to see Sheldon's dad and mom and brother and sister and everybody, and focus just on Sheldon, it's one of those things where the Big Bang Theory also works because of the rest of the cast. So maybe at some point I'll watch Young Sheldon in its entirety. I did watch the very beginning and the very end, but now I kind of want to watch all of it just to round out all of that stuff. So regardless, it was a good show though. It made me laugh, and I enjoyed it thoroughly from beginning to end. And it was finally good to see the entire show in its entirety, and know where a lot of the clips that I see on YouTube are coming from. So next up, now that my Grand Theft Auto gameplay is done, I did resume my gameplay for Doom 3, or Doom the Dark Ages, not Doom 3. I mean, technically it's Doom 3, but we also have a Doom 3. So now that Grand Theft Auto is done, I did resume my gameplay for Doom the Dark Ages, and overall it is actually a very fun game. It does feel like they took out some of the high-speed aspects of Doom Eternal, for at least from the first level or so, and went back to the Doom 2016 roots. So it's less about speeding through the levels. It does have a little bit more exploration. You do have to go through and rip it through some of the enemies and stuff like that, but you do have to navigate around. You have to use different strategies. So you don't not only have to use your weapons, but you also now have your arm punch thing, you have your shield, and you have upgrades. So you can use your weapons as is. Supposedly you can beat the whole game without doing any upgrades, but I guess like most other things, because they have an upgrade system, having upgrades would make it easier. So not only do you have to use strategy in navigating through the level, but you have to use strategy on when to use your weapon. So you know that certain enemies can be easily defeated by throwing your shield. Some can easily be taken out by doing the power charge, using your shield in front of you and ramming into them, using your weapon, and then doing the glory kills with your arm to punch out enemies. So you can get replenishment on weapon or ammo, health, and armor. So all in all, so far it's a fun game. They're kind of doing a more granulated story outline for the game, which I was hearing somewhere, or I saw a couple places where it's weird that they have the story elements as much as they do, but they're actually making it more granulated. So rather than having the end chapter cards like you would have in Doom 1 and 2, they have the title cards at the beginning of each level for what's going on in that map, so you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, and then you have the cutscenes and things like that to give you a story update. So rather than having it at the end of each chapter or section, you have everything going. You have them telling you what's happening in that level. You have the missions and goals and objectives of what to complete and what's going on when you're on that particular map. So it's kind of giving you a more itemized focus on it. And so rather than even chapter level themes, you can even have a theme over a specific level or couple of levels. So I actually kind of like it. So and I think they did that in the first game. Not really sure about Doom Eternal, but Doom 2016 kind of did that as well with the story. So you kind of have a goal and aim and all that. So overall, it's worth playing. And I could definitely want to keep playing it. The only thing that's kind of questionable for me at the moment is the maps with the mech warrior and the dragon. I thought that was kind of weird. I was kind of hoping we wouldn't have any more flying, especially after my issues in GTA. But I guess it wasn't too terrible. I mean, the navigation's pretty simple, up, down, left, right, just in the 3D space of flying, and then accelerate, dive, climb, and all that. So it's not terribly difficult, and you're not doing anything too fantastic. You do have to go through caverns and stuff, but you don't have to do like loop-de-loops or special maneuvers or anything like that. You're really just going to specific areas to take out cannons and turrets and things like that. And then ultimately, when you need to take out actual enemies like the various demons, you have to land the dragon. So they do give a tutorial on that, and then you jump right into it. So it's not terrible. I didn't have anything too against it. And even with the mech suit, it was kind of weird to have it, but I'm kind of curious to see or like what they do with it. But ultimately, it is a interesting addition to the game, but we'll see if that how that factors out as far as maybe a fight with a cyber demon or using them as secondary backup characters or something like that. But regardless, that was interesting. Not good, not bad, but we'll see how they're able to use that further. But regardless, I am enjoying it. I'm able to get through the levels pretty straightforwardly. Not too many issues yet, so it has a definite improvement over Doom Eternal for me, but it does make me want to go try it again just to see if maybe now that I've had a few more years of gameplay experience, to see if maybe it'll be something that I can try out again. And so to round out this week's episode, I wanted to do something a little bit fun. So in one of the maps, we do see the makers using a console to refuel or re-energize the Doom guy's suit, because I guess they have a little thing to keep him under their control. So they use his console to resurge the power and whatever going through his veins to keep their control over him. And I actually thought it was a pretty nifty console, so I thought, let me see if I can make a Android home screen in Custom Live Wallpaper Maker to kind of mimic what we see on that screen. So I kind of came up with a concept of it. It's one of those things where I'm having issues with the app on my phone that is causing issues with like media playback and resource usage and things like that. So it's kind of weird, and I don't know if it's a version issue or a device issue. So I'm calling it a concept just because I didn't have it caused too much problems in my data usage of my phone. But that's why I stopped it as a concept, because I kind of wanted to show that it is something that can be done in Custom Live Wallpaper Maker, where you can have progress bars as overlays. So you have an outer progress bar for like your Wi-Fi connection strength, and then an inner progress for your data connection, and then same thing for like media playback and your battery length. Circular icons to match the circular icons that are on the console, and then kind of data information sections to match kind of what you see in the center of the screen. So if it's something that helps inspire you guys to create your own similar home screen, then go for it. Once the app has certain updates to have it work better with my phone, I'll probably give it another shot down the road. But for now, it's just a concept that it is actually a pretty cool looking console, and it's something that can be created on your Android home screen. So if you like that Doom, the Dark Ages console, you can have that same effect on your own Android device to have it in the real world. So I'll have a link to that blog post in the show notes along with the gameplay playlist. So check out either one of those. But that is actually all for this particular episode. So if you have any questions, comments, feedback, or anything like that, you can comment on this post on the social media sites I'm on. All of them are linked on the website at HeadphonesNeil.reviews, which also has links to past episodes, how to support the show, and all of that good stuff. All the gameplay videos and audio versions of the podcast are also up on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatelN01, where if you become a member, you also get early access to gameplay videos and podcasts and various contents and things like that. So definite perk for doing that as well. But with that being said, that is actually all for this particular episode. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.